Hello everybody and welcome back to Muramasa the Demon Blade. This is the challenge mission episode. Soon. Thanks to someone in the thread, his name escapes me right now, but you know who you are, don't worry. He told me how to do something that's been bugging me for a good while. One of the promo images of this game and one of the trailer shots is a octopus boss fight. And I've never done this until now. This boss fight is actually kind of a rush. You have to kill, I believe, 8 tentacles in the span of 60 seconds in order to win. Now the best way to do this is gonna seem very counterintuitive. You wanna do a air combo to the point where you do the spinning dive and then mash out to jump back onto the boat. That does just enough hits for you to kill a tentacle and then recover. And it's better than doing my traditional combo by leaps and bounds. Not much of a fight, but it's still something interesting and something you'll never see when you first play this game, because you have absolutely no reason to. This boat takes you to Mikawa, and the first time you do it, you do the fishing minigame. So I could see a good 90% of people missing this, me included. I'm also going to say you want to do this mission as soon as it unlocks, for a reason that will be explained later. Also, amusingly enough, when you, if you fail this mission, the scene that shows is like a mob of octopuses converging upon you. The achievement you get for beating this guy is from the depths of Riley, which is a Lovecraft reference, of course. Now, when you beat the octopus, you're not done with this quite yet. You want to go to Mikawa this way one more time. Now, it's funny how way back in the day we talked about mermaids, because there's a mermaid in this game. Another thing that a good 80%, a good 90% of people wouldn't see. But for beating the octopus, we get the Mirror of Wisdom, which is an infinite use bronze mirror. This is fucking amazing. And when this option appears, do it. This will save you so much time and money and backtracking. Oh my god, it's wonderful. Now, I'm doing the challenge missions as Kisuke because A, he's stronger, and B, I just like playing as Kisuke. Now, we're going to be doing these challenge missions in an order that I got from, from an IGN guide, because they're the only people that listed this order. There's no other, like, listing of scaling difficulty, locations, etc. Only the IGN guide has it. And even they fucked up an item. But yeah, your first mission, 100 ninjas. Not really that hard. Also not really that interesting. Let's skip ahead a little bit. I think the Cursed Heibaji would actually be really good here, because that increased instant death rate would probably save a lot of time. Now, for these challenge missions where you have to fight 100 of X, I would highly recommend getting the Bracelet of the Diva King, which I actually got before these challenge missions to make them a lot easier. And I would also recommend using the Hornet Strike weapon, because by doing so you could constantly keep enemies locked in place. Now for that one, we got the, I think we got the Beelzebub saucer, which allows us to decrease the weapon gauge. But since the game expects you to do challenge missions before the boss refights, a good 80% of the items you get during the challenge missions are obsoleted by what I did. It's mainly due to the fact that in Chaos Mode, they scale up the challenge missions to your level. So they're technically harder than the boss refights, mainly this one. I hate fighting monks because they have a lot of super armor frames, and they do not like to be stunned in the middle of their attacks. which is garbage. Because these guys do a good 2,000 damage with the staff poke. Get the fuck out of here. What is this evil monk bullshit? I'm just a little ninja boy. Luckily I got a level up there, because I'm pretty sure I was fucking dead if that monk got that poke off. Yeah, sadly, all the colored challenge missions are just 100 of X, which is actually really disappointing. I think these were mainly intended to be grindstones for players that needed to level up super quick to deal with other things. But here's the issue. You level up perfectly fine if you just play the game, so there's no reason to grind on a challenge mission early on. In the late game, bosses give you so much EXP that they don't work either, so there's really no reason to do these challenge missions. Also, just so you know, we've already done 3 challenge missions as Kisuke during the main game. I believe we did Trial of the 100 Monks and Valor of something, all in the last episode of Kisuke. And we actually did this in Kisuke episode 2. So we will not be seeing 3 of the rewards that we get from this fight, or from these missions. If you want to reference them, just look at the Kisuke episodes. But, just as point of reference, look how fast we're melting him. This is what happens when you get the Bracelet of the Diva King. It just makes everything so much more easier. By easier, I mean bearable, because these things take triple the time to do if you don't have the bracelet. Out here in Totomi, I believe this is 100 Tengu. Yeah, this is 100 Tengu. From a humor standpoint, I'm a little sad that they didn't call it a murder of crows, because one of the Tengu here is Crow Tengu. And I feel like that would have been a funny joke, but then again, I'm an old man and I find wordplay relatively humorous. Tengu are kind of a hard fight just because they can piggyback attacks, or not piggyback, they can leapfrog that air slash wave that could instantly break your sword. And that could lead to a lot of trouble if you don't know what you're doing. Like there. Yeah, a good 50% of the challenge missions are really uninspired, unfortunately. For this, though, we get the Golden Hammer. This would have been really nice for me to get early on in the game because this increases your item acquisition rate. Or not item acquisition, gold acquisition. Get that equipped and fight the centipedes in Skull Valley. You'll get a lot of money. Out here in where the hell are we? Out here in Mino. Probably one of the worst missions in my opinion. Just from a personal standpoint, you see. "100 frogs. God damn it. And here I thought, yeah, you know, I'll show off the sword. Somebody's been asking for it. They deserve it. Toads are pretty fucking good at breaking your weapon with poison. But yeah, this is... Luckily, they don't have ledges, so they're not, you know, just wandering around putzing about off in the hiding in the foreground effects. But it's still 100 fucking frogs. Oh yeah, by the way, for those that want a little bit of a hint on the future endeavors, one of the DLC characters has a dungeon that is not only filled with frogs, but has a frog as a boss, and I was screaming when I first played that DLC. It was awful. And yes, I know they're toads. Fuck you, I don't give a shit. These creatures get no respect from me. For this, you get the Amulet of Issei. It's the weaker version of the Izuno amulet, which gives you better spirit restoration on a sword. It's trash. I don't know. Go away. I'm also using the bronze mirror because I kind of want to clear my inventory of them. Now, out here in Mikawa is a challenge mission that one of my friends is actually afraid of. And I'll admit, I got lucky during this fight. Because this could be dicey or relatively easy depending on how you prepare. I think we did this as Momohime. It's 7 Samurai. 7 Samurai, not that big an explanation. Now, a quick draw's not enough to break their swords, unfortunately. So I get a little scared here. You'll know when I freak out. Yeah, that's a little scary right there. Getting a little afraid. But I got 3 of them in a juggle, so it should be fine. One thing I never mentioned about the juggle that I only just now realized, because you spend so long in the air, the juggle combo is really good for just laming out the fullness timer and getting another heal. But I'm in a bad spot right here. I don't have any working short swords. Yeah, I'm really low on health, holy shit. I could combo them and wait for a while, but they all have their swords, and that's kind of not great for me. Right now I'm just desperately looking for a heal. And then that happened. Luckily, the longsword pulled some weight, but then this happens. Basically, I pulled this challenge mission out of my ass. There's no real skill here. And for this mission, we get the Yamato Nostrum. I forget what this does. This is one of those few that always eludes my memory. The Yamato Nostrum is a constant regen. I mean, that's okay, I guess. It's a great way to save on resources if you just want to AFK somewhere. Out here in Sagami is a familiar challenge mission that we've already done, but it's still fun, so I'm gonna do it anyways. I believe this mission the monks got me the chainmail. This is Valor in the Witching Hour. Not that way, stupid. Now, a lot of the challenge missions are just multiples of single enemy, which is kind of bad design in my opinion. It's a lot better here and in a later mission where it's just 4 or 3 of an enemy instead of 10. But I feel like they could have done something interesting and mixed them up a little bit. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe pair the 2 monks with Sayo, or, Maybe pair the big ninjas with Yuki Nojo. There's a lot of things you could do by mixing and matching enemies, but they don't really do it in Muramasa for some reason. And I feel like that's kind of a squandered circumstance. And that guard breaker took me a long time to charge. That was weird. But yeah, one of the big flaws I've noticed with Muramasa is that there's no real combat. There's no real variety in the combat. They don't mix and match enemies, and that's really kind of a lost opportunity in my opinion. Unfortunately, I wasted my quick draw, so I don't get it here. This is meant to give you a quick charge so you could use it in the next phase of the fight, but I forget that. Because this guy is still a big threat, mainly because of his babies. Yeah, unfortunately there's not much to say about this fight. We've fought him a whole bunch before. He's nothing new. Also doesn't help that I don't have Air Slash anymore, so I can't really lame him out during his poison phase. That Diva Bracelet helps out a lot with damage. I think even with reflected bullets, those are amplified to 700 strength. Out here in Iga, I forget what we get out here, actually. Oh yeah, this is this is a mission that scared me initially because I thought, Jesus Christ, it's gonna be 100 elite ninjas. Nah, it's just 4 fat ones. Like I said before, a lot of the challenge missions are kind of uninspired, but I don't know, I'm actually kind of okay with the 4 fat ninjas just because it's just enough leapfrogging of attacks to be dangerous but not overbearing. I know I mentioned this a lot recently because it still pisses me off to this day, but there's an indie game called Hand of Fate that is really bad with leapfrogging in the final aspect of the game. And I don't know, I feel like Vanillaware does it a little bit better just because you have so many opportunities to have invincibility frames and still deal damage that leapfrogging isn't a problem. That and you have a lot of options to recover from any problems caused by that. So it's a system designed to mitigate the problems associated with mob fights, but there's still the problem but it's still kind of a problem. Now I will say that I feel as if the challenge missions themselves aren't meant to be challenge missions. I think they were meant to be testing grounds for AI logic. Because if you notice, even with 4 ninjas, I still have a good amount of attack windows to go in and deal damage. I think they were mainly doing this to decide what would be the good balance of attacking and just not attacking. And since they needed a little extra content in this game, they decided, well, might as well just put these testing grounds in the game. For that, we get the Boots of Sneaking. This is the minor version of the one that we got from Kurozaru in the Bossery fight. Which is ironic. Fighting 4 of them at once gives us the minor version of fighting a better version of the one. That's kind of strange to me, honestly. This next one is one of the first White Barrier missions, and it's probably the funniest one in my opinion. Right now I'm preparing for this because I know what's gonna come, and since I have Bracelet of the Diva King, I'm looking for a specific sword that I don't remember what the name of the skill is. I also noticed a little typo there. The skill on the top says Radiant Moon, but in the equipment menu it says Lustrous Moon. I think that might be a clash in between the Wii version and the Vita version translations. Like, one of the two got through a crack. This mission is called Frolicking Animals. Can you guess what it does? Shouldn't be too hard if you recognize patterns. It's 100 animals! With Radiant Moon, this actually trivializes the fight a lot to the point where I don't think I need to edit it. This is kind of why I want you to get Bracelet of the Diva King first and foremost when you do the post game. Because being able to make old swords viable even this late in the game, really great. Because you can do shit like that. But yeah, this is not really a hard mission. I just find it really funny. It's also, if you're also aggressive, it's probably also the only time you'll ever see animals attack just by merit of them existing long enough to attack. It's amazing how little HP the pheasants have, which is kind of why I'm glad I got this setup going. I also noticed the tile set in the back there is basically a much deader version of the mountainsides. I think they actually do a color balance change for each of these areas. Like, none of the tile sets are actually new, they just have kind of a dead hue to them, which is a decent effort. At least they didn't make it like, you know, just repaste it again. But yeah, for that, we get the Petra Saucer. This is the weaker version of the Beelzebub Saucer. And at this late in the game, I ask why. We got the Beelzebub Saucer from a level 16 challenge mission. So why did we get the weaker version from a level 51? I don't know, I think that was something that just kinda got mixed up in development. That can't have been a conscious decision. Now, from this point on, the IGN guide I'm using kinda messes up. They put the sequence out of order, and I do one of the earlier missions at the tail end of this video. And it's actually a mission I don't like by merit of design. You could probably guess why, but for now, we'll just check out this Cave of Evil. Giant Centipedes at Suzuka Ridge. So, if you haven't guessed, this is basically actually, now that I think about it, it's a lamer version of the original boss fight. Because the original boss fight has you fighting 3 of the centipede demons. In this one, you only fight 2. However, this is a really important challenge mission to do. This is also one of the ones I thought would be a good idea to grind on, but I was wrong. Oh boy, was I wrong. Because not only do you get less EXP in general, you also get less money, and it takes longer just because the I think the centipedes here actually have more HP than the boss version. I don't know which is longer. These centipedes seem like they have a lot more HP, but I think since you're fighting 3 in the boss version, you're gonna be taking a lot longer there. Also, I want to say that each of the challenge missions from the white barriers, and I think some of the later purple barriers, are all references to paintings. Because they do have titles that sound very familiar. Now I'm trying to find the other one, because this is a big arena, and I don't know where the other centipede went to. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't keep the guy long enough on screen to chain command the quick draws. And also, if I was smart, I would have kept the Sanctified Blade, but I was expecting a totally different challenge mission here, which is why I don't have it. Now for beating this fight, we get something totally different. We get the Blade of Absolute Truth. This is one of the late game swords that you're supposed to get after you do the alternate endings. I did things a little out of order. Actually, maybe screw little. I did things wickedly out of order. Because what I was hoping is that this sword right here was the tippy top of the center sword tree. Oh no, it's not. It's actually the bottom one. Right there. That gives us Kamiatachi 5. Which, if you could guess by pattern recognition, is the skill Kamiatachi, except you shoot out 5 shadow clones. But enough of this. Enough of me being completely confused as to why I went to the wrong mission, got a sword that's in the wrong area, and have no idea what I did wrong. Let's do another challenge mission. Out here in Suruga, we get a challenge mission that made me very angry. Ooh, man. This was the challenge mission I decided to grind Momohime on in preparation for the end game, and oh, did I make a huge mistake by choosing this. This is Dragons of Heaven on Earth. Heaven and Earth. Can you guess what it is? It's 2 of this stupid dragon. Can you guess what 2 of this stupid dragon means? Pro tip, your swords are gonna fucking die. I can't count the number of times I've fought these 2 idiots. It's so miserable. Also, this is probably the best time I ever fight this boss because I actually anticipate the fireballs and attack them head on. If you do that, the boss is trivialized, but the issue is, when I'm grinding, I just turn my brain off. So yeah, when both of them launch that fireball volley, that happens. That shit hurts. It's the worst. I think I've gotten and killed as Momohime like 12 times because of that fireball volley, all by grinding. I hate this mission. It's fun the first time, but I hate this mission so much. I hate that stupid fucking dragon and its dumb look. Go away. Granted, if you want to do the ultimate end game, you have to do this because this is also one of the missions with an end game sword. For this, you get the Sword of Rejuvenation. I believe this is the short sword paired with the long sword in the middle tree. That gives us Gale/3. My friend, you're back. I missed you. Yeah, I still don't quite get why it's not doing what I wanted to. I think once I finished the challenge missions, I had to actually look up a guide as to why I'm not seeing these swords, and then I felt really dumb afterwards. You also got to forge a new sword. It's the Fading Comet. Now, for whatever reasons, those two swords count as Momohime swords. Oh well. Out here in, I believe, Omi, we get kind of a tedious fight. Can you guess how many packs of enemies we have to fight here? If you guessed anything but demons, you'd be wrong. Oh, man. I don't know why I put on invincibility here. This isn't a tough fight, this is just tedious. I think I just wanted to eat something to make it a little bit easier. So it starts off innocuous, you know, it's only like 20 of these little goblin shits. But, you know, you can't just make things this easy. 100 of these little goblins would be too tedious. Let's make it even more tedious. 2 dudes at once. Now granted, this isn't hard. We've done this before in Momohime's chapter. Twice, actually. It's not fun either way. Because these guys are sacks of HP. And I'm glad they gave us meters so we can measure how long it takes for us to fucking deal with these guys. But yeah, these are trivialized by the fact that if we just do the air combo, they're chumps. Oh man, they have so oh, here's an attack we actually haven't seen. They can grab you and then slam you into the ground. But you can mash out of it, and since I'm really good at mashing, I don't give a shit. But yeah, Snore, it's just demons. And if you're able to guess pattern recognitions, we're gonna be fighting these the rest of the challenge mission. Because guess what? It's Oxhead and Horseface. It's the same thing. I honestly don't know what to say here. There's nothing to add. This is probably the worst one in my opinion. I want to say it's personal bias because these guys are not fun to fight. They're slow and they're sacks of HP. They're not a threat. They just take forever to fight, extending the gameplay time with no real benefit added to it. They're just not good enemies. Granted, from a artistic and writing design standpoint, Oxhead and Horseface are really good choices to use. But just by merit of game design mechanically, these are the worst enemies in the game, in my opinion. I don't even mind the Geki just because because you either kill them fast or die to them fast. These guys are just, yeah, you're big, you're ugly, you can't hit me, what the fuck is the point of you? Now, as if things couldn't get any worse. The last phase, we fight all 4! This is so awful. It's not even a threat, it's just such a slow fight. And you can get hit here, but it's so inconsequential. They don't lay on the pressure to you, and they don't even leapfrog their attacks all that much like the 4 big ninjas did. They're just slow, dumb, uninspired enemies. And this mission is just so tedious because of it. Like right there, I took a hit, but it doesn't matter because I Ukemi'd and got my HP back. That hit got me though. Yeah, weird thing about the Ukemi, I've been doing research on Fury Mode, and apparently Fury Mode is a mode where you only have 1 HP, but enemies are scaled and designed for their easy mode, aka legend mode counterpart. Which means they do a lot less damage, and if you do a Ukemi, you actually take no damage, period. You also have way more meter in a Fury mode than you would in any other mode, which means you could block infinitely. So I'm wondering if a Fury mode would be interesting to play. It would make me make use of the block more, but it would also be kind of boring, honestly, because a lot of Fury mode is really cheap tactics. I forget if this is a mission that we need to do for a sword, though. Okay, yeah, we get the Sword of Corruption here. Sword of Corruption gives us Thunderclap. Thunderclap is a really cool skill. I like it a lot. I wish it appeared earlier in the game because, man, that shit's great. Sword of Corruption is also the second to last sword that we're supposed to get. Sure. Now here's the thing. I mentioned I used an IGN guide to list where to go for these missions. Now they did things out of order. This is the mission that was out of order. This is also the mission as another one that I just hate, period. But there's also one last challenge mission that I'm not gonna do quite yet. That one's gonna be done after the second endings, for reasons that you'll see from those endings. But yeah, remember when I mentioned back in the 4 Fat Ninjas that I was afraid this was 100 Elite Ninjas? Guess what this is? It's 100 Elite Ninjas! God damn it! Like, I'll even take the fucking Oni over these guys. This is such an awful encounter. Just because they have so many ways to not take damage that it just slows it down to a slog. Luckily, it's not 100. I was being exaggerating, just for purely cinematic effect. It's only 50. But the last phase has a special guest. Yagyu Yukinojo is here. Yagyu Yukinojo is here. So you want to get rid of these ninjas first before you fight Yukinojo. And honestly, the elite ninjas are more of a threat than Yukinojo. Thanks for breaking my sword. Now you fucknuts are gonna die. Here's Thunderclap! Thunderclap is really fucking cool because it teleports you, homes in on a target, and then does a drop slash on them. Now, the cool thing about Thunderclap is, depending on the size of the enemy, you can do a full 5 seconds of damage on someone with Thunderclap. It is amazing. Like, if you use this on Dragon God, you stay in the air for a good 3 seconds just doing damage, and it is insanely good. I can see why it's a late game sword. It is so nice. It's not really good for breaking swords, though, which I don't realize this fight. Yay, we did it. What a fun fight. For this, though, we get Prayers of the Damned, the final sword of the challenge missions. And at about this time, it finally clicks in. I was supposed to do the second endings first, because Prayers of the Damned is the earliest sword you could get. And along with that, we get Blade of the Divine Wind. I believe these are the swords that I'm not going to show off just because of how late I get them. And you could thank IGN for that. because I didn't realize that I was supposed to have these swords beforehand. So, next time on Muramasa, the Demon's Blade, the second endings of the game that you get by equipping Descent into Misery and Threads of Fate.